I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Brian Wilson.
Joining us now on the line is our legal analyst, Joe diGenova. Joe, good morning to you.
Good morning.
I want to start by talking about the immigration issue and this story that I saw this morning, which just irritates me beyond belief, and I want to know what you think about it from a legal standpoint. The governor of Nebraska has said that the federal government has sent 200 of these illegal immigrant children into his state. Now, he has asked the government, where did you send them? And the federal government, will not tell him which county or city they sent these children to. And they won't discuss it with him any further. They will not tell him which school systems they are about to be absorbed into when school resumes. Don't mayors and governors, at least, have the right to know what the federal government is doing when it sends these illegal alien children into their state or into their cities?
Well, I think the federal government, while it has plenary authority in matters of immigration and can move people around the country, certainly has a responsibility to inform local communities of the impact of the people coming. You will notice, by the way, in case our listeners haven't seen this, not one of these immigrant children is going to either Illinois or Delaware, the home state of the president and the vice president. And if the idiots in the White House press corps had an ounce of brains, they would start asking that question this morning. But, of course, they're idiots, and they won't ask that question. It's an obvious question. But if I were the governor of Nebraska, I would file a lawsuit against the president of the United States, personally, against the president, for failure to inform them under the 8th, 9th, and 10th Amendments to the Constitution. Whether or not there is a legal responsibility to do so, there is a political and moral responsibility for reasons of health care, education, budget, law enforcement. By the way, the Nebraska governor knows exactly where these children have gone because local police departments are pretty good in Nebraska. So I'm not quite sure what this fight is about. But if the governor wants to have a fight, he ought to sue the president. He doesn't have to get his state attorney general, hire a private law firm.
Well, how would that work out? Would he prevail?
I have no idea, but you know what? There's nothing better than embarrassing this president because he can't stand it.
Joe diGenova, you are a frequent and vociferous critic of our Attorney General, Eric Holder, and I know that you saw that he had an exclusive interview with ABC News over the weekend. I want to play something for you and let you respond, because he addressed his critics, and he has an opinion of them. Here it is.
You've talked about the fact that you and the president are sometimes treated differently. Those were your words. What did you mean by that?
Well, there's a certain level of vehemence, it seems to me, that's directed at me, directed at the president. People talk about taking their country back. I can't look into people's hearts, look into people's minds, but it seems to me that this president has been treated differently than others.
Joe, what do you think he's getting at there?
His comments are beneath his office. Eric Holder has become unhinged. These comments are stupid, they're silly, they're churlish, they're childish, they're sophomoric. This is faculty lounge crap. The President of the United States and the Attorney General are both black. Is it not surprising to them that this happened in America, that the President, a black President, has been elected twice by the American people? The Attorney General has been around for 2 terms. This is not a racist country. What is going on here is, because of the incompetence of this administration, and particularly this president, and may I say, regrettably, the Attorney General himself, they have politicized every aspect of government to the core. And when people react to it legitimately, claiming constitutional violations, the Attorney General says something like this. I mean, what he is doing is demonstrating why he should not be the Attorney General any longer. This is an embarrassment. You wouldn't hear any other Attorney General talk like this. White, black, green, yellow, Chinese, Hispanic. Nobody would talk like this. This is basically stupid. I mean, it's mind-boggling that the Attorney General can sit there with a major news network, being interviewed by a black correspondent, by the way, who's a wonderful reporter, and say things like this. I mean, when you listen to his voice, you hear this kind of trembling doubt in his own mind about whether or not he should say it. And yet he has no governor. He says it anyway. This really is stupid stuff.
You know, the IRS investigation continues, and it seems like every week we get some new development. Last week, I think, since we spoke to you, there was a new development had to do with another Lois Lerner email that has come forward, in which she is talking to the IT department about a conversation she recently had with her colleagues about how they need to be very careful about what they write in emails, because when they write things in emails, they need to understand that Congress may one day look at those emails. We also learned last week that there is an instant messaging system that apparently is not archived. Your thoughts on these developments?
Well, there's no question about it that the best chances of getting information in the short term are from the federal courts, and that's going to happen in both of these cases. Whatever answer the IRS provides, it's not going to be sufficient. It is now quite clear that there was, in fact, a purposeful manipulation of the Internal Revenue Service by the President and others. Those who think that the President did not authorize this are out of their minds. He may not have written an order. He may not have given a direct order verbally. But when he gave his State of the Union address in January of 2010 and berated the Supreme Court over Citizens United, he was talking to the bureaucracy. He was ordering them to do things like this. And all of this stemmed from that speech. And whatever happens with the stuff on Capitol Hill, nothing is going to really happen until the Republicans take the Senate. Once you have both houses, then the subpoenas will mean something. Because as a result of that, and by the way, this notion of impeaching the president is absolutely stupid. You don't want to try and impeach the president. I mean, just leave him alone. Let him suffer in his own juices. What you should do is considering impeaching lower officials like the IRS Commissioner, John Koskinen, and others. Those are the people who should be held accountable. The president is untouchable. People need to understand this. Sarah Palin's out of her mind. I mean, it may make her feel good, but we're not going to impeach the president, and we don't want to. We want him left around as an issue.
By the way, while we're impeaching people, swinging back to this IRS issue, Eric Holder was asked about that too, Joe diGenova, and guess what? He said, there's no need for any sort of special investigation on this because, as he put it, career people and FBI agents are doing a good and professional job investigating the matter.
I don't know if you saw the Wall Street Journal editorial about the FBI Director, James Comey. Where is he? Why didn't he reveal the missing emails from the IRS, which he certainly should have known about had he been carefully following the investigation? This is actually going to, in history's long picture and look back, the IRS scandal is going to be something that is going to taint this president's presidency and Eric Holder's attorney generalship. This will be viewed as the most cynical cover-up of criminal activity. And I must say, I thought that Jim Comey had a little bit more boludos than he appears to have. The notion that he can sit there and not tell Congress certain things is very disturbing, and I think some folks are beginning to wonder, as they should have wondered before they voted for him as FBI director, whether or not Mr. Comey really is as independent as he likes to think of himself as being.
Boludos. is that a Tagalog word? Is that Native American? Boludos.
It's a word that I decided to use in place of another word.
I'm going to look that up. We could get that trending on Twitter, I think.
Right.
Joe, I certainly agree with you on the IRS thing. I got to tell you, Tom Fitton of Judicial Watch, through his FOIA request, has uncovered more on the IRS scandal than anything from Congress or the Department of Justice.
We need to take the Senate, and then you'll have subpoenas from both houses, and then the ball game gets much more interesting.
Thanks,
All right,
Joe.
Thank you.